In the next few weeks, we're expecting to receive stimulus checks or relief checks. In March, I received a bonus, yay. And it's tax return season. So I thought, what better time is there than now to share some of my favorite ways to budget bonus money. Hello again, I'm Debt Free D, and I'm on a journey to pay off over $55,000 in debt. Now I have just under $7,800 to go, yay! If you want to join me on this journey, please do hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so you know when I post new videos. So what you'll want to first be clear about is whether or not this money is true bonus money, which is an addition to your pay, or is it income replacement. You want to be clear about that distinction because you'll treat that money differently. It'll have different responsibilities, and I'm going to attempt to highlight the differences with these tips as I go along in the video. So the first thing would be to not count on it. I know they said it's coming. Your boss has already talked to you about your bonus. They say the relief checks will be coming in a couple weeks. And though you can plan on it, just don't make any moves on it yet. Don't call up your creditors and schedule payments or your bills, utilities, any of those things. Don't schedule payments just yet. Just wait until you have the money in hand before you do any of that. How many of you relying on your direct deposit that normally comes every couple weeks or whenever you're expecting it, when that direct deposit doesn't make it into your bank account, you're scrambling because you're used to it being there. They said it was gonna be there. You scheduled all these payments and now you're having to go through and scramble to get all of that taken care of. It's the same way. Think of it this way. You don't have that money until you have that money. So after you have the money in hand or in your bank account, then you may want to consider what you would normally do to give. Now, this is personal preference. If you're used to giving, be it a first fruits giving of a tithe to your church or giving to charity or anything like that, normally I like to take that off the top. Now, if this is income replacement, you may decide if you'll be able to afford to do that right now. Though if normally with your income you're used to giving, you may want to consider continuing that with this bonus money or this relief check. Again, this is totally personal preference, but if you decide to give, normally I like to give first. Go ahead and get that out of the way. So after you have your giving out of the way, if that's your thing, then you'll want to move on to what Dave Ramsey calls the 4 walls. Now they would be food, clothing, shelter, transportation. So food, you'll want to make sure you are food secure, that you have enough money to take care of what you need for groceries, having things delivered during this pandemic, or just make sure you have enough to feed yourself, feed your family, get the groceries that you need to eat. Clothing, now this is for clothing you need. Now I think a lot of us, now I know I might need to just speak for myself, you have enough clothes, okay? But if you need clothes for work or anything like that, make sure you have enough clothing, and the clothes that you need, you'll want to make sure within your budget, the bonus, the relief or stimulus check, you have what you need as far as clothing goes. Now, not just what you want. Okay, I'll take it easy on that one. But clothing, your clothing needs, shelter or housing. So you want to make sure that you have taken care of your mortgage or rent. Wherever you live, you want to make sure you're all A-okay with payments. Now that's going to be all of your utilities, so electricity, water, sewer, any of that stuff. You'll just want to make sure that your housing cost, mortgage, rent, utilities, all of that is taken care of as a priority. Next up is transportation. Your auto loan payment. It may be a good idea to go ahead and make that payment, have that already paid. Your insurance and anything you need for transportation, get your bus pass or your Metro card. Make sure that you have set aside what you need to transport yourself, especially for work and in emergencies. You'll want to make sure that as far as transportation goes, you don't have any concerns when it comes to that. So those are the 4 walls. Again, food, clothing, shelter, and transportation. You want to make sure all of that is taken care of. Now, if this relief check is income replacement, From there, I would say to make the minimum payment on all of your other debts or accounts, make the very minimum and save as much of the rest of that money as you can. Just hold it in savings. That's going to be really important during this season, especially, again, if this is income replacement. You'll want to make sure that you have money on hand or savings right now to take care of the unexpected expenses and possibly even bills that are to come if you're not sure when you'll get paid next. Another thing that I want to mention before moving on to some other ways to use your bonus or relief check, and that is if you don't have enough money after you've taken care of your four walls and you're holding on to a little bit of savings to make the minimum payments on your debts. And believe me, I've been there. Now, what you'll want to do is don't worry. And I know that's easier said than done, but don't worry. What I suggest is that you call up your creditors and let them know, call them up one by one and let them know that this pandemic has affected your ability to work. You're essentially doing the best you can and you need some help with this payment. You need some type of relief. So can they work with you and see if they have a plan in place for helping you out? Now, some of them may relieve payments for a short period of time. If they don't give you any suggestions, I would then start to make suggestions. So I would say to them, can you move my due date out further? Can you take this month's payment and put it on the end of the loan, giving yourself a little more time? What is there that can be done? Because otherwise they won't receive payment. And if there's nothing that they can do for you, then there's nothing that they are willing to do. And I know, again, that not paying your bills and not paying debts is something that you don't want to do. We want to make those minimum payments, but if you don't have the cash, you don't have the cash. Don't worry. Don't worry about it. I have been in a place, and I've heard so many others say this, I've been in a place where I could not afford everything, and there are times you just cannot do everything. But I want you to learn a couple things from this. First off, and this is tough love because I'm telling myself, this I feel like has taught us that we need to equip ourselves not to depend on debt to help us run our budget. That is not a financially wise decision. And the second thing that I think we can learn from our creditors not working with us in the time of a worldwide pandemic is every month you're giving that creditor interest. Or even if you say, okay, I pay the balance down every 21 days, you make sure you get their payment to them and now they can't help you or they won't help you. So let that sink in. And remember that whenever you're using that credit card. Now, I'm not trying to beat up on you because believe me, like I said at the beginning of the video, $55,000 right here, okay? But whenever you start to call your creditors and they won't work with you, I think that teaches you something about the relationship you feel like you have with them. And learn from this. Say, you don't have debt, you still have a little bit of money left over, or say this is not income replacement, it's icing on the cake to what you're getting paid on a more frequent basis. Then I would move into these next things, which are just, again, some suggestions now. Because we're dealing with a pandemic, it is still very important to have savings. So I'm just going to go ahead and put it out there. The next thing to consider, still make the minimum payments on all of your debts and save. Now, this is not for everybody, but putting money up in places where you're pretty sure you may need something within the next month or so. Just go ahead and save the money. Once everything again gets back to normal, you can always take that money that you saved and dump it on debt. So make the minimum payments on all of your debts and then save as much as possible. If that makes you feel weird, and believe me, I know, because I am so ready to put my savings towards debt, I can't even tell you, but I know that it's the wise decision to at least have this money on hand just in case. Now, quick plug, if you're wondering where to put your savings, I don't normally save in my bank or credit union's savings account because I don't really get any money by leaving my money there. Instead, I use an online savings account, Capital One 360. Their performance savings gives you a pretty good rate of return interest-wise. I would consider trying them for your online savings. You do want to make sure you have some money that you can get to more easily, but if you want to put the bulk of your savings up, then I would consider the Capital One 360 online savings. If you use my referral link in the description below, you get a referral bonus for signing up with that link, and I get a referral bonus as well. It doesn't cost you anything for me to get a little something, but you get an additional $25, I believe it is, at least. So you may want to check it out. And I found that saving that way is helpful to me because it's a bit more out of sight, out of mind. And I can allow my money to grow and grow and grow, and me just peek in on it as opposed to it being with all of my other accounts and I feel like I'm rich and all that stuff, which, you know, I don't know. Now, investing. So we know that this pandemic has made a pretty big impact on the stock market, but you may consider investing as well. There are several options, especially if this money is bonus money. So maybe you've come across this video and we're no longer in a pandemic, yay, and you received bonus money and you're just trying to figure out what are some good ideas for me to use this on? If you have already given and you already take care of your 4 walls, here are a few other tips on what to do with the money. So if you are in debt and you've already saved your $1,000 emergency fund as a baseline, now you may also consider saving 3 to 6 months living expenses into your savings. You may want to take this opportunity to pay down debt. Whether you're using the debt snowball or the debt avalanche or any other method, it is helpful and wise to remove debt from the equation. I normally try to go in the order of the debt snowball, but in the past, whenever I'd received a tax return and I had a few bills that could be knocked out in less than that amount, I would go ahead and pay them. If it was $200, $300, no matter where they fell in the line, I would go ahead and knock them out and get them done and over with. Paying off that debt frees up more money month over month for you to be able to pay on the other debts anyway. So paying down debt is, I think, a great opportunity. You may want to make an extra payment, say on your auto loan, to push out your next payment, or a payment to principal to lower the amount of principal you owe and therefore lowering your interest and possibly the life of the loan. Those are really good ideas. There are sometimes one-time expenses that come up within the next few months or so. Go ahead and prepay those while you have the money. Now, they may be car taxes or HOA fees or things like that you know are coming up within the next few months. It may just be worth it to go ahead and get those knocked out and out of the way. And then, of course, if this is a bonus, do something nice for yourself because this can be a lot. And I think every once in a while, especially when you get a bonus or any extra money, it's nice to allot a portion to do something nice for yourself. Maybe take a trip for the day somewhere, just a nice short getaway, or manicure, pedicure, flowers, or massage. Maybe just replace an item that you use all the time that's starting to break down. Maybe there's a coffee pot you use every day that's leaking water everywhere that you have to clean up. I mean, it might be a good time to take a few dollars and replace that and give yourself that time back every morning. If this is a bonus, most likely you've worked pretty hard for this and you've done really well, and this is a good time to reward yourself. And last but not least for this video, if you are really baller, do they say baller anymore? Anyway, if you are really baller, pay upcoming bills early. I mean, you know they're coming, and if you have the money, and if it makes you happy, go ahead and prepay the bills you already know are coming up after you've made this month's payments. Now that's something. So there you have it. Those are my tips for how to spend your relief check, stimulus check, bonus, or tax return. Let me know what I've missed and let me know what you're planning to do with your relief check or bonus or tax return in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye. Before moving on to just some really quick tips and tricks, but you may consider investing. Wow. Before moving on to some really quick